since we saw them on December 21st, which was an electrifying game for this Magic squad. As you can imagine, it was one of those games where you're just kind of wondering, and you were wondering what was going to happen next, and it just left you on the edge of your seat. Let's take a look at those highlights from that last game against the Miami Heat. This Magic squad coming in, of course, with players down in this moment. You have Franz, who was out. You have Paolo Banchero, who is out. Then you also have Jalen Suggs, who gets out as well. And then you also lose Mo Wagner in this mix-up as well, going into that first quarter. So when you see that this team and how they were doing, it looked like all odds were against them, but that next man up mentality and the heart and hustle of this team just really showed up for this team. And it was Cole Anthony who had that electrifying game, 35 points. That was a season high for him. Going into this next game, they had that momentum. They had everything going for them. That's where you lead into the Boston Celtics. Looking into that game and how this Magic squad doing it by committee. That's what they've said since the beginning, and that's what they continue to lead by, is by committee. Bringing in the defending champions, coming in to see the Boston Celtics. Just a crazy game for this one. They knocked down a 15-point deficit to grab that 108-104 win Monday night. And it was the rookie and Tristan da Silva who led with 18 points. You also had Traveling Queen. He also showed up with 17 points. And I think that's the part that's been fun about this, is seeing everyone and how they've just been able to just help out with this Magic squad and really just help grow this team as well. They preach next man up mentality. They preach defense. You're seeing that with this Magic team for sure. So if you just now are joining us on the Orlando Magic YouTube page, you are watching Courtside Countdown with me, Kendra Douglas, the team reporter for the Orlando Magic. We're trying something new. We want to get you guys ready for this Magic game tonight. We want to have a little pregame show with you, interact with you as much as we can, really try to get you guys to see what we see. We're here on Courtside, Miami Heat side, which is a big game tonight as the Magic. They will be taking on the Miami Heat again tonight in this one. And when you take a look at this Miami Heat squad and just everything that they've been able to do so far, they've actually are 2-3 out of their last 5 games. But taking a look at that starting lineup, when we look at what's going on with this Magic team tonight, same starting lineup for this Magic team. When you look at them, you're going to have Traveling Queen, who is actually going to be starting again for this Magic team, which is a big deal. Head coach Mosley spoke about him in the pregame presser just now, just saying that it is just his effort and his preparedness to just stay ready. On the other side, though, Jimmy Butler, he is not playing in this one. He is injury reserve on this one. Return to competition, reconditioning, and he has been ruled out of this game. But again, taking a look at that Magic side, Traveling Queen is the biggest one where I think you guys notice coming in and getting the nod again. The two-way player that the Magic have. One thing head coach Jamal Mosley spoke about him is that he said that Trevelyan is someone who is able to just do it on both sides. Able to go to Osceola, able to play here for the Magic team. We saw spurts of him last season as well, really just helping out with this team. And now it's so good to see him just being able to compete and being able to give it his all. He had such a heartfelt moment, such a heartfelt, warming moment when he played in that game against the Boston Celtics. So it's really good to see that he is going to be starting for this team again, as this team is riddled by injuries, of course, but they are learning how to play it with their defense and that next man up mentality. When you take a look at this Miami team though, Tyler Hero, that is the guy that this Magic squad is going to have to look out for today, especially when you have guys like Jimmy Butler, who's not in rotation for this one tonight. Tyler Hero, he's coming in with a great of his last couple of games. He's been able to just score 20-plus in the last 4 of his games. He had 17 against Brooklyn. Right now, he's averaging 22.6 points, 7.6 rebounds, and 4.8 assists in his last 5 games. And he is going to be someone that this Magic squad is going to be looking out for. He nearly recorded his second triple-double in that game against the Brooklyn Nets. They got the win in that one. But he is someone who the Magic team, they're going to be out there looking for him tonight, especially since they are down a couple bodies too as well. Overall, though, this Heat squad, they're coming in and they are 2 of 3, and they're averaging, in their last 5 games, they're averaging 33.5% from the three-point line. The Magic, they beat them in that back-to-back. That's where they've lost those last 3. back-to-back OKC and Orlando. So this is going to be another one where this Heat team, they know what to expect. This Magic team, they know what to expect as well. And it should be just a really good game, though, overall for this team as well. Taking a look at those last 5 games for the Heat, as you can see, they lost against OKC, they've lost against the Magic, and then they also lost against the Detroit Pistons. Tough losses in those games, but overall they've come back and to grab that win, and they're hoping to get a win in this game tonight. Let's listen to head coach Jamal Mosley and KCP, who spoke earlier today about this team.
About belief, you mentioned it the other day. To see your group the way it's really lived up to that and followed through on that. How proud are you of them? And how do you see them continuing to do that, moving forward?
I'm extremely proud of this group, for their resiliency, their grit, their toughness, but again, to your point about their belief system, knowing what they're capable of doing. And I think, you can talk about it early in the year before you've hit any adversity, before anything happens, but to do it real time and to be in the experience and still find your way of fighting through it, no matter what's happening.
Well, when you look at this Miami team, obviously the circumstances of 5 days ago's game was certainly unique, but when you look back at the second half of that game and how you guys were able to erase that deficit, what stuck out and how can you guys capitalize on that and start doing that earlier?
Well, I think that to your point, the first piece of that is the fact that they scored 76 points in the first half. So that we'll talk about that one more than we talk about the comeback. Not putting yourself in that situation to begin with. And I think that starts with communication, ball security, defending without fouling, all of those situations that we talk about, throughout the game, throughout the year. We've got to put them all together.
Well, welcome back to Courtside Countdown with me, Kendra Douglas. We have Dan Savage. Thank you for joining me, Dan.
Thank you for having me. I mean, it's been a whole 2 days since we had a practice or a game, so it feels like forever, but it's good to be back out here.
When you're looking at this Magic team and just all they've been able to accomplish so far, it's truly that next man up mentality. One guy that really has proven that for us for sure is Trevelin Queen. I mean, so far this season, he's somebody that the Magic brought on as a two-way. Didn't get to see much of him early on, but he is showing up at the right time.
Yeah, he did this last year too, so it's no surprise. TQ is a guy who stays ready all the time. He showed that by getting a start in the last game, doing very well. Coach rewarded him with the start again tonight. What I love about TQ is his mindset. You're talking about a guy who was a G League MVP, a G League All-Star Game MVP, a G League Finals MVP, and yet when he comes here, he's willing to switch his entire role and be a 3-and-D guy. That says a lot about his character, the type of guy he is, and that's why he's getting rewarded now.
Yes, and when you see guys getting rewarded, you're also seeing guys who you wanted to have good games, and one of those guys is Cole Anthony. We've been wanting to see him have a good game, and he did against the Miami Heat when this team needed it the most.
No, absolutely, and who wouldn't mind if the Heat found some more coal in their stocking again tonight. 35 points, season high, had season highs in rebounds and assists. He's that type of player. Look, Cole would be the first to admit he hasn't had his best season.
Right.
But we've seen him before playing at an extremely high level, starter-worthy level in this league. And with Cole right now, I think it's a volume play. He's a really good guy when the ball's in his hand, and he's putting up shots, and he doesn't have to worry about getting pulled out. And I think right now we're seeing him play with that confidence, not looking over his shoulder, and it's leading to success.
Yeah, season high 35 for him, 8 rebounds, 9 assists in that game. Super, just a big moment for him. And then I love the moment where he just went to his family, gave him a big hug after that. He was pretty emotional even on the broadcast as well, because you can tell that this is something where it's just been bugging him, and you've been wanting to see him succeed. And then another guy who we've been able to see just have a great season so far is Goga Bitadze. Just what are you liking about his game so far?
The thing you love about Goga is, like the other two guys you mentioned, when called upon, he's ready even if he hasn't been playing. Look, last season he was part of one of the Magic's most successful stretches, and then at the end of the season wasn't playing as much. At the start of this season wasn't playing, and then all of a sudden injuries happen. Thrust into the starting lineup, and what does he do? Plays at such a good level that coach has to play him, regardless of when guys come back. And that's what coach's message always is play so well when you get your opportunity that I have no choice but to play you. And Goga Batadze personifies that. And don't tell me that's not an inspiration for other guys on the back of the bench. They all see that, and I think Goga set the tone and why we're seeing some of these back of the end of the bench guys have such success this season.
Yeah, the Green Goblins. Those Green Goblins are
Exactly,
really having
they're
the
dangerous.
success there. I know, right? Just all the Green Goblins from last season really showing out this season. And what I think I like about what Goga's doing and just how he is, he says he's so thankful to be here. I think that's one thing that you got to love about his energy. The idea that, you know, he's coming from Indiana, he doesn't really know his place, didn't know where he was going to fit in, and he's been able to find a spot here. He always talks about how this organization has just treated him so well, and he loves it. So it is good to see that his hard work is paying off and that he's doing the best that he can do. Now let's talk about this matchup. It's going to be a tough one because seeing the same team you've seen within 5 days, they already know what to expect, but the Magic, they know what to expect too as well. No Jimmy Butler again in this game also, so they're out that one. But overall, I mean, when you look at just this team and what they've been able to accomplish between Tyler Hero and Jalen Suggs, just kind of talk a little bit about that matchup.
Yeah, when you look at Tyler Hero, he's having an incredible season. He's on his longest stretch of double-digit scoring games of his career, almost up to 60 straight now. With him, I talked to Anthony Black. He'll be one of the guys on him. Jalen Suggs will be on him. And you look at another guy that'll be on him is KCP. What you really have to do with him is get into him early on. Don't let him get comfortable because he'll put up volume and he'll get the job done. So you really have to get into him and on the ball. And I think the Magic have the type of defenders to do that. If they play like they played him that fourth quarter the other night, they'll have tremendous success.
And then are there any other matchups that you like to see, maybe Goga, Bam, or is there any kind of matchups that you're looking forward into seeing in this game?
You know, you hit the nail on the head. When the Magic had that big fourth quarter run against the Heat the other night, a big part of that success was Goga's job on Bam. Bam's not only a scorer for them, you know, he's third on their team in scoring, second when Jimmy's out, but on top of that, he's a playmaker. And he is very versatile, could switch on to guys. So if you could take him out of the mix, that puts the Magic in a great position.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about just what you're looking forward to and the keys of this game, because it is a big one. Like we've mentioned, this team, they've already been able to play them twice, and they're going to have to play them again one more time. But when you look at just kind of what's going to happen in tonight's game, what are some of the 3 keys that you really believe that the Magic will need to do heading into this game?
Well, you said one of the words right there, and it's belief. Look, Kendra, when the Magic played the Heat the last time, entering the fourth quarter, they were down 22 points. Prior to that game, since 2019, teams facing a 22-point deficit or more entering the fourth quarter were 0-796. That's almost 800 games where a team didn't pull off a win. The Magic entered that and did the victory. And why is that? It starts with Mosley constantly coaching these guys that no matter what the situation is, they could come back and win. Secondly, the turnover battle. When you're playing the Miami Heat, you do not want to give them fast break opportunities. We've seen for almost the entire history of the Heat, they capitalize on those types of situations. So you have to not give that to them. And then on top of that, look, you're going to have to play hard against this Heat team. You're going to have to take care of the ball. And if you don't have turnovers, don't let them go to the free throw line. You'll end up with tremendous success.
You got to talk about the three-point game as well, too. Stopping them on the three, that's going to be really big for them.
No, when you look at the Celtics, the way that they played against them, entering that game, the Celtics had a long double-digit streak of games with 10 or more threes made in a game. The Magic held them to 8. Now, when you look at this Heat team, they're tremendous in terms of percentage. They're 8th in the NBA right now in three-pointer percentage, and for the Magic, it's going to be limiting those opportunities, running them off the line, and forcing them into tough twos.
I want to get to some of these questions, too, because you guys have been giving us a lot of questions. I haven't been able to see them, but I now can. So, again, thank you, guys. So we're getting to a couple of these questions. Gary Harris, did they announce that Gary Harris is not playing tonight?
I have not seen that yet. He is questionable. I will say that Gary went further along in his shoot-around progression than he had prior. So I think if Gary doesn't play tonight, he's at the very least getting close. maybe we see him again tomorrow.
Maybe, yes, because that's great. This team will be playing the Knicks tomorrow, so it is the first night of a back-to-back. The next question, and this is one where we've seen videos of this guy, and it's exciting to see videos of this guy, but Paolo Banchero, he's not playing tonight, but you guys have been asking him, is he still out? What's going on? And we've been able to see some really good videos of him ramping up. What have you liked about some of the things of just seeing the team around him when he's ramping up and getting ready?
Well, I just love Paolo's energy level. Whether he's playing or not, he's been in the huddles. He's been talking to Mose when he sees things. He's been grabbing these young guys, coaching them up, even though he's a young guy himself. And that's hard to do, and he's found a way to remain engaged. And when you look at his progression, it seems like each time we see him, he's doing more and more on the court. Has yet to do contact, but what you love to see is that he's doing more because that means he's responding to the things he is doing. So hopefully that bodes well for Paolo coming up soon.
I know we are all excited to see Paolo Banchero get back into action, get back on the court, but soon, guys, soon. Just be patient. Another couple questions. Let's just see. We have Suggs back, yes, so that was part of the starting lineup. We do have Jalen Suggs back, and we didn't have him for that Miami game, which you know this. It's so hard to get Jalen Suggs to not play, but in that moment, it was something where if we want to keep him for the long run, you gotta be careful with them. What have you liked about just his play and how he's been able to really help this team out this season?
Is there anything better than Jalen Suggs in this building in the Kia Center? He brings tremendous energy, and especially for a Magic team now that's missing some of it, with Mo Wagner being out for the season with the torn ACL, they need Jalen Suggs' energy, and especially when you're playing like a guy like Tyler Hero, who, if he gets comfortable and in a rhythm, it could be a long night for your defense. Jalen Suggs gets into him early, as he does many players, and that disrupts them, and that leads to some of those stretches where the other team can't score, like we saw in the fourth quarter against this team previously.
It's funny you mentioned it just now, because one question I want to ask you is that fourth quarter. This team has really become a fourth quarter team, where last year it felt like they were a third quarter team too. Like they did very well in the third quarter, and they've switched it. What is it about this team that they've been able to just really capitalize in the fourth quarter?
Look, if you play in a first half and you're going against Jalen Suggs, you're going against KCP, you're going against Anthony Black, and then guys coming off the bench as well, like Jonathan Isaac, Goga Batadze in the starting lineup. It's just endlessly a rotation of guys who are tremendous defenders that by the time the fourth quarter comes, you're gassed out. And I think that has shown itself not only in defensive numbers, but in the energy level and mindset as well.
I completely agree. This should be a really good game tonight. I'm looking forward to it, and we thank you guys, the viewers, for watching this Courtside Countdown with us tonight for this game. The Magic, they will be taking on the Miami Heat tonight, second time in 5 days. Should be a good game. You can now watch the pregame show on FanDuel Sports Network. You're home for the Orlando Magic. That will be tipping off soon as this Magic team gets ready to hit the court. We look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for watching us, and we'll see you next time.